Absolutely.
Cue the lights.
We didn't pay the light bill.
I guess not.
We're thankful.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everyone. Good to see everybody here today. Before we get started, if we could go around the room and just introduce ourselves, that would be great. Amy, would you mind kicking it off?
Sure. Okay, Phoebe Russell, and I'm family doctor.
Hi, my name is Tim Love. I work for Buncombe County Government. My role is Assistant County Manager. Been with the county for about 10 years.
I'm Kate Berger. I work at Farm Credit as my sort of daytime hat.
I'm Dee Stiles, and I've lived in Buncombe County my entire life and lived in the same house where I live now for 77 years.
Hi, I'm Doug Clark. I live out in Fairview and I'm property manager.
I'm Liz Ward, I'm a retired epidemiologist, lived here about 8 years.
I'm Mark Mickey, I'm a general contractor, and this is my second year on this committee.
Sarah Joss, I'm one of the grants managers in Strategic Partnerships Department.
My name is Nicholas, everyday Sam. And I'm Nicholas's dad, and I'm Ray Hemachandra. And we've lived in Buncombe County for 18 years in South Asheville. And I am a consultant. I work with a lot of nonprofits.
Rachel Sawyer, Strategic Partnerships.
Angela Johnson, Strategic Partnerships. Do we have anyone joining us virtually? I just saw someone join.
I think that's a public.
Welcome, everybody. I think it'll be a really great meeting. We've got a full agenda today, and I'd like to get started with approving the minutes of the August 1st meeting. So if I could get a motion to do so.
I make a motion.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. So to get started, we know all this, but we do have a bit of new business today. And would like to get started turning it over to Rachel.
Will do. Each year, each fiscal year, because our grant cycle runs according to the fiscal year. So the summer is the start of our year. We produce a roadmap. We're bringing this to you in your September meeting, a little bit into our year as we're refining some of the pieces here. So this is the document that lists all of the months. In the middle column, we list the date of the meeting in bold and what the agenda items are being held for that meeting. And in the right column, we list what other activities might be going on that month in addition to the regular meeting. So we are here in September and grantee site visits are underway. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Thank you to everyone who has participated so far. And we've got our Assistant County Manager, Mr. Love, in the room with us to talk and join in with the committee's conversations about process enhancement or process improvement. As we get ready for fast forwarding to December, that's when we open up the grant process for the year. We take January off. Staff is busy supporting grantees with workshop, grant open house, the one-to-one consultations that we offer to applicants, and then those applications come in here. Is a regular meeting in March, and then in April, we've got 2 meetings. The regular meeting, April 3rd, a special meeting, so we have extra time to work on our funding recommendations for April 17th. And then a whole, in case we possibly need it, the following week, we could call another special meeting. We have not used that in the past couple of years based on my recollection, but it's still our little, just because we do need to submit our funding recommendations to the budget office by the last Friday of that month, which is the 25th of April. We pause in May, and then come back in June for a process review, background, and circle again. If we haven't yet, we will look at all of the dates on the calendar and update your appointments, delete them where in those months that we're not having a meeting, and add them where we're having a special meeting. So be on the lookout for that. Questions? Comments? Thank you, Kate.
I know we have election of officers today, and while I did miss the last meeting, I understand from the minutes that no one put their name forward or was nominated, but there was an opening for someone to email county staff in order to nominate or put their name forward for one of the roles. And I just want to check in and see where we are, because I think we have to take a vote today. Is that correct? Okay.
We did not receive any further nominations or.
We vote by vote, or we just go around? What's the best practice there?
Any, also, we don't have a attorney in the room, but we've done it by motion and second.
Okay.
An open vote, if the group is to write down answers, we can do that happen too.
Okay. Does anyone have a strong feeling in either direction, whether you would like to do handwritten ballot or go around the room with the
Okay.
motion and second?
Because I think currently we only have the current existing slate recurring. I think maybe first ask if anyone wants to nominate right now themselves or someone else. And if no one says yes to that, then I think a motion second would be fine.
Absolutely. Still open for nominations or putting your own name forward. We'd love to hear it. Anyone like to come forward? No? Okay.
Our 3 roles are chair, vice chair, and secretary. Our 3 current officers are Kate, Ray, and Liz.
And I will say, I know that this is Kate's last year on the committee, last eligible year in her terms. Liz, I think, did you just renew?
I just renewed.
Okay, great. So you're still available. But something to think about for next year as well.
All right. If no one else wants to put a name forward, if I get a motion to go ahead and confirm the officers, that would be great. Okay,
I'll second.
in a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? It's official. Another year. Now that we have that out of the way, I understand we have a list of who has signed up for site visits so far. And if anybody hasn't had a chance and wants to do so, I understand the form is still available. Okay, great.
Could you please send the link, because I looked for it in my calendar.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think everyone in this room has signed up currently, so thank you so much for doing that. We have had very timely responses in terms of getting these scheduled, and really appreciate your prompt attention to it. We did print out the current list in terms of schedule, which organizations are scheduled and which committee members have signed up currently. But obviously there are some opportunities for folks to sign up as a second or third committee member for any of the site visits. So if you want to take a look at these, I know that kind of and availability sign up on the form, which was new tactic this year. So if you take a look at the schedule now and see who signed up and have further interest or availability, please feel free to reach out to me directly.
Interested for me, rather than just choosing. Because there are some that were my highest scoring, but also some that I didn't score. But if you do resend the link, I will add a couple too.
Does anyone have anything further to discuss about site visits, questions, or anything at all?
And as a reminder for the committee, staff will send out reminder emails before the site visits, or if they fall on a Monday, we'll send it out the Friday before. And we will include the application for the organization so that you can remember what they were proposing in their projects, as well as evaluation. That's what we decided on, right?
That's scope of work.
Scope of work, thank you, was the other part, so that you can see what's built into their contract in terms of their project activities. And the committee decided this year to use December to have an agenda item where we just do kind of a group review of any site visits that happened the month before, so that we're not using the evaluation form, which I think will be an interesting test to see how that goes.
We've done 3 so far before this meeting. Should we do that?
Sure.
Just because I don't take a lot of notes.
Yeah.
Liz, I saw you were the only one to do DHD. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, it was an unsurprising site visit. I visited with them last year, and basically they talked about their plans for a much larger van that will accommodate, seeing more than one person at a time. And, it takes a while for those vans to get built. They said the timeline is now about 6 months to get it rolling. But they're very optimistic that that will enable them to double the number of patients that they're seeing. So we have to look at sustainability. They definitely have plans for sustainability, both through, insurance reimbursements that people are caring for, and, through support from their organization. So everything was positive.
Okay. And then Mark and I did a site visit to Babies Need Bottoms.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to do a site visit at Babies Needs Bottoms last year, and then again this year, and it was great. How much they bring, and how much more resources and services they're able to provide. I did have one sort of brainstorm moment there. I asked a question on other site visits, just in relation to setting a reminder that this grant is a permanent, they have for years, and knowing that they're on the 3rd year. And I felt like I got a great response. The response was, well, yes, we're aware this is the 3rd and final year. And what this has done is allowed us to gather information that we can then take, show other funding sources that, hey, this money was used in a successful manner. We have data to back it up, and it supports getting funds from other resources. And then it dawned on me, is there a way to provide sort of an outline or data collection sheet that people that are getting the grant, when they receive the grant, keep this information, and now at the closeout of the grant, you have this information to take to other funding resources to sort of help people that aren't as sophisticated as Babies Need Bottoms staff is.
And I'd add that I thought it was a great site visit. So was the one this morning that I got to do with Angela. With Babies Need Bottoms, they distributed 500,000 diapers last calendar year, which was a profound increase in need with increased economic dislocation. And they are trying to serve not just Buncombe County, although about 60% of their diapers are within Buncombe County, but outside counties as well, and coming up with partners to do that. They're now they're distributing 50,000 diapers. I think our last grant included other supplies, it's not just diapers we distributed, but other supplies. They partner with organizations like ANA and other as a distribution network. And they increased their capacity for storage significantly by changing load. Yes, we're kind of overwhelmed by the number of vendors there. Nice person. And then me, this morning I did On Track with Angelin. Rachel was with us at Babies Need Bottoms. On Track, and that was another great site visit. They have a new leadership team. I think all 3 members of their leadership team have started in the past year or about the past year. They have a staff of only 12, which I didn't know, actually, but that's the full staff. Similarly to the economic shifts, the shifts in our economy in Buncombe County, for On Track, that means there's more people needing their services. A lot of it focused on housing, because housing has become such a problem, but also more broadly, they're looking at the way they're getting out information about all their different services and all their different trainings, and looking to be more inclusive in the way they do outreach and maybe refresh their brand. On Track is 50 years old. They've been doing their work for 50 years. So, and also their previous executive director had been in that role for 30 years, and doing really good solid work to get new brand messaging, maybe new brand reflect is in our demographics and need.
I'm going through strategic planning this year, so we're very excited about that. And a lot of energy is focusing on.
Yeah, really impressive team actually. Too. Does anyone have any questions for any of those visits?
There will be many more to report back on at our next meeting.
Yes.
That was great feedback. Thank you all for doing that. Appreciate it. Does anybody else have anything to say about site visits before we move on to the agenda? All right. So 2030 strategic updates. I understand that actually coming in November.
For you to share some updates. We've been talking about how Buncombe County Strategic Plan is underway. Remember the strategy and innovation team came and presented some information and got some feedback. It has continued along in its planning process, and we want to show you what it includes now, and then also extend an invite to a community session that's going to be coming up. The strategic plan is of special importance to this committee because the focus areas and goals are within that. Our slide here and it shows how we currently have 4 focus areas, and you're familiar with those. Briefly, it's education, economy, environment, and well-being. In the new plan, we will have 6 focus areas. So economy sort of broke out into both growth and development as well as economic development because those had enough different functions within them. Commissioners wanted to see those separated out. Education is still a focus area. And then well-being really is kind of showing up as health as well as safety. And then energy continues as a priority. So the kinds of things that you would have seen the county prioritizing or focusing on, whether it was substance, reducing substance use deaths or increasing graduation rates, or focusing on, environmental you would see those same types of goals showing up with a different kind of overall structure at that top level. I'm going to go through a series of slides to give you a sneak peek of what is within these now, but know that this is both a draft as well as more detail than I know you need. So the first one up is growth and development. So under each of these focus areas, commissioners and the team that's leading us through planning, together with some staff teams and all of our input sessions, have come up with what's bolded and numbered there, the objectives. So each focus area has objectives, and then under every objective, there's going to be goals. So I've just pulled here for your awareness some example goals. This isn't a comprehensive listing. So for growth and development, we see housing, encouraging diversity of housing as a foundation for affordable, healthy, thriving communities, particularly I also see land use specific around within both areas. We're balancing the need for growth and development and more housing with land conservation. So this is a growth strategy led through our comprehensive land use plan. Next slide. Economic development is the next focus area. It's got workforce support, internet, increased internet access, and then economic and business opportunities. And so you'll see goals here associated with those, and then our departments are going to be taking on initiatives that feed the goals, that feed up. And then our grantees would be doing the same. They'd be pitching projects, which are kind of those initiatives saying like, they've looked at our plan and they think they fit best under economic development, under business opportunities, and here's the project they would be proposing. Next is education. We have early and adult learning and equity in education. The K-12 piece is still in there and reflected. You'll see graduation rates and some of those K-12 goals that were in our existing plan still reflected. Community health has 3 objectives. Coordination and resilience of health services, increasing that to create a healthier and safer community. Increasing equitable outcomes in the various health domains, physical, mental, behavioral health, as well as social connectedness, and improving community well-being through person-centered and trauma-informed services. So again, you can imagine how county departmental programs might feed some of these. Trauma-informed services in our child welfare or foster care, or public health outreach van that goes into different locations across the community. Dr. Russell will be happy to see the NC Care 360. I think that's tied to some of the initiatives that you've talked about. And we can also imagine how some of our community partners, like the site visit that you mentioned, with a community health provider might their projects and them in the infrastructure. The next one is public safety. Prevention and harm reduction, public safety generally, and then collaboration and coordination around diversion services, which is a term in that field that tends to be about not overusing or incorrectly using institutions. And then finally, energy and environment. We see agricultural heritage and conservation of natural resources, as well as reductions in greenhouse air quality, then has and disaster preparedness. We also hear the word resilience in this environmental and disaster response settings. So that is a run through of what we currently have. There is a open community input session, which has just been published, publicized. So go to buncombecounty.org, you can get the link to sign up. Session on September 9th at 12 o'clock. Will be by the that's leading in the planning process, as well as input opportunity. And then we take this plan for approval, I think, in November. Does that sound right to you, Tim? Which means when we open up our grant cycle in December, we can insert these new focus areas. I remember the committee and thinking about some comments Mark and Ray have made previously, eagerly looking forward to seeing how changes here impact funding. Anything on your mind at this point?
Not specifically.
Okay.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Really interested, depending on what the categories are, if that affects some of the questions. And then also, I think in this past cycle, we emphasized or noted or gave some extra boost, I can't quite remember, I was on the remote call, to like the tops in each category. Now we're adding categories. Are we still gonna do that? If there were 20 categories, would we still do that? How are we gonna make those choices? I think so. So I think there's a lot of substance actually that we'll try in a pretty fast way.
Whether or not grant results, take that and the application of this. If anything's given to us in regard to your point. And Sarah and I.
So, thank you, Ray, for that segue into process improvements.
Hey,
This is
Sarah.
something that the committee has been. Hello.
Are you able to hear me? This is Angelica.
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in. I am currently crafting an email that's about to go to members of our boards and commissions across the county. And that email will have the link to both that virtual meeting Rachel just spoke of, but it will also have a very specific survey link for survey about the current strategic plan goals that is specifically for boards and commission members. The commissioners have asked in the past, just like Rachel referred to S&I coming and presenting to us a few months ago about the strategic plan in its initial form. The commissioners want to be able to track what our boards and commission members have said. So you'll be getting a specialized link. It's the same survey, but we're going to collect that data a little differently so we can pull that out to show to commissioners. So be looking for that email later today, probably, or if not later today, this week.
Wonderful. Thank you, Angelica. So you got the special link. All right. So committee has been focusing on process improvements for our upcoming grant cycle, which is FY26, if you can believe that. And this is something that we've kind of had a few different activities that the committee has participated in to help us gather information as well as see kind of like priority for the committee in terms of what you'd like to see carried forward as process improvements. So we wanted to organize this in kind of a clear, concise way. So you'll see on this slide the committee-driven changes, so that those are the changes that this committee has leaned as kind of top priorities. So none of these should be new to anyone, but you'll see we have here use and create data to target organizations that are underrepresented in specific focus areas, which Rachel's actually going to talk to us about in more detail of how we can do that just in a moment. The one that is kind of always on the table is improving the method for geographic diversity via population served versus main location. And that's something that the committee has been trying to kind of hone in on, a way to track geography and what data with geography we're looking for in order to have a clear picture of where services are provided as well as where organizations are getting money. The third one on here is limit organizations to only apply for one SPG project per year, which has not been our goal in our grant guidelines, but it's something that has kind of been talked about in this room before. We currently have the rule that an organization can only be funded for the same project up to 3 times for this grant fund. This would be a different requirement that would limit an organization to only submit one project application per year for the strategic partnership grant. As you all know, we get some organizations that apply for multiple projects in this fund, sometimes have been funded multiple times in this fund for different projects. So this would be a new requirement. Another one that rose to the top was not funding capital projects. That has currently not been something that this committee has required. Capital projects, this is one of the grant programs that the county funds where capital projects are currently eligible.
put in the grant, we might have prohibitively lock ourselves in because of the size of projects from different categories and maybe the amount that we might. But that's risk and being really specific about how we think versus open.
Which one, extra to grant applicants that ask for reduced. Not, not gonna start. Okay. That would affect the applicants. Think seriously about that.
Which would also be something we want to have ahead of time, right? Determine the application. And as I think we all know, 7 and 5, that top 3